What's going on, Laker fans? Welcome to the Laker Central podcast, where I discuss the most famous basketball franchise on the planet with the biggest, brightest, and up-and-coming voices in sports and culture. Before I get into today's show, make sure you tell at least one other Laker fan about the podcast because we're building a community one listen at a time. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I know you saw that new merch that just dropped, so make sure you grab a t-shirt, a mug, sticker, have something to support the show. Certainly appreciate that. I'd like to welcome two guests on. Mike from Off the Record, one of my co-hosts on the Off the Record podcast, and our longtime friend Daoud Wallace. Make sure you're following them on Twitter as well. We're going to talk about The Last Dance, episode 5 and 6. So what's going on, fellas?
What up, man? Congratulations on the merch, too. I copped a lot this morning. You got a lot of fresh gear on there, so they definitely need to cop some of that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, man. What's up, everybody? I copped some merch, too. Yo, I know it's a little off, but what's your explain the mindset behind the merch? Oh, it's dope. As you do in your fashion, you keep it on the low. You don't really say nothing until it's ready to drop. So, what was how'd you come up with the concept and everything?
No, I mean, just wanted to drop a few pieces that was a shout out to Kobe. That was really it. Knew he'd be appearing on The Last Dance, so just wanted to do that, and it was something I had in the back of my mind for a while. I just hadn't really gotten around to it, so dropped a few pieces. Going to be dropping way more in the coming weeks, but just wanted to get a few basic pieces out there. So certainly appreciate everybody that went and checked it out and bought something.
No doubt.
So Last Dance, man, episode number 5. So that's dedicated to Kobe. I think that was one of his last public interviews, or that he did. So, I thought he would be featured a little bit more in the episode. I mean, just given the similarities, given their relationship, given that he passed away, I thought that they would have more audio. But as we're learning, or more visuals, but as we're learning, ESPN isn't even finished the whole docuseries.
Yeah,
they rushed it out.
So what does that mean? Are they is it going to be another part to this, or are they, or did they just really how are they going to put the other part? How are they going to put the other parts out? They just
finished the final episode last week.
Okay.
So I think what will happen is whatever they end up maybe adding to it will probably be on Netflix.
Right. Okay. That's what I was thinking last night.
It's definitely going to be an ESPN Plus that you can buy for $7.99. I mean, one thing about ESPN, they're going to milk it, and I mean that's just the way business is. But I'm kind of with you, Howard. Yesterday, the doc. Well, we're going to go into this later, but they kind of teased us in a way. This episode is going to be about that '98 All-Star game, and that was like a blip. It was literally 10 minutes of it. And it was cool to see, hearing the Kobe and MJ going back and forth. You know what? One thing that really jumped out to me, when they was in the locker room pregame, all the other players looked at MJ like he was their dad. Like they were in awe of him in a way. His own peers. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those dudes were he was their favorite player.
Right.
The Penny Hardaway, you could see Penny and them sitting there, and they wasn't saying nothing.
Nothing.
They were just sitting there, you know what I mean? And it's yo, should I speak? Should I not speak unless I'm spoken to? It was it had that kind of feel to it. But I mean, a lot of those dudes is that was their guy. I mean, that was their favorite player growing up. It's just, like I said, the remarkable thing about seeing these things and in the lifetime that we were blessed to grow up in, we were able to see that, right? We were able to see Jordan and his and the kids below him, who he was their favorite player, come up and get a chance to play with him. And then you got to see it with Kobe as well. We got to see that same transition with Kobe.
Yeah, the pass of the torch.
Yeah, those players were in awe of him as well. So that's what stuck out to me in that episode. And it was okay, there's the beginning. A couple things. So how they showed a couple episodes ago that Jordan where they talked about him being froze out in the All-Star game and stuff like that, right?
Right.
So that jumped out to me, and then how like, okay, it was the beginning. So that was the beginning for Mike. And then this was the beginning for Kobe. Like it showed, that beginning moment, his coming to the stage, so to speak. You know what I mean? And so I thought that was cool. I don't know. It was. I thought that was dope how they did piece that together like that.
Right.
I mean, he was definitely at that point, but in '98, you look at the Eastern Conference team, he was the elder statesman. I mean, obviously he was more accomplished, but Grant Hill, who was up and coming, had been in the league 4 or 5 years. Penny had been in the league 3 or 4 years. Funny story about Penny and Kobe. Kobe had met Shaq and Penny like years before he came into the NBA. So he went to an Orlando game, and Penny was the player he looked up to at that point. He went to get an autograph from Penny, and Penny wouldn't sign the autograph. So Shaq signed it, and that began Kobe and Shaq's unofficial relationship before he actually got to the NBA.
Wow, man, Penny was, man. There's a clip on Twitter where he like backs the guy down, but does a step back forward and hits a jump. Penny was so damn good.
Oh, he was great. I mean, injuries took away his career.
Yeah,
I mean, he was Penny had necks. Penny and Grant Hill. I think they both had necks. And in that doc, you hear Grant Hill saying he's not trying to get dunked on by Kobe. I think that's what he said.
Yeah, I'm moving out the way. I'm not trying to get caught under the rim. But I mean, like, just to see, like, to be able to see the beginning for Kobe and how, Mike, like, I think Mike had a special way of reaching out or showing that he excuse my French, but he bangs with you, so to speak. Like, and that was his way. Like, you see, he was talking to Kobe, and then as they said at the end, he was like, "Man, call me anytime you need me. Call me."
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's you could tell for Mike, like he obviously saw something in him, and which we learning as we speak. And as the untimely death of Kobe, like, I didn't know that they were that close. I had no clue that they were that close. And to hear Kobe's side of it was good to see too. Like, to say, like, bro, like, this is like a big brother to me. Like, I wouldn't have these championships if it wasn't for him. And then to see how uncomfortable it is for him to talk about him
better.
Yes, he was.
It's just like I had no clue that they were that close, man. I think one of the things with Kobe that stands out. So when Jordan was at the top of the hill, he was ultra competitive. I mean, he's still ultra competitive, but certainly when he was playing, he wanted to take everybody's head off, right? And it seemed like a lot of the younger players, maybe they were everybody was intimidated by him, but they wouldn't even talk to him. Wouldn't even, Can you show me a move? Kobe was the guy that came in immediately, standing next to him. Hey, how do you shoot your fadeaway? Like, he wasn't, whether Mike said no or I'm gonna tell you, Kobe just went for it, and it seemed like Mike respected that. He poked fun at him because you see it in the doc, when they were teasing, making fun of Kobe about going to get it, and but he respected Kobe, I think, in a way that I don't even know if he respected, like, Magic and Bird, man. Like, it's crazy to say, but it's like a different kind of respect.
Totally. Those guys were respected on you won, you did this, you did that. But this is like my baby brother. Like, this is my boy. This is like, he's a killer. And he knew from a very early point of meeting him, yeah, this guy's a killer. It's not about talent at this point. It's about having an umph. And Kobe obviously had that umph in the talent. So,
and I mean, Magic and Bird, he was. I mean, maybe that's the similarity in their stories again. Like, Mike felt like Magic and Bird was at the top of the hill, and he needed to knock them down to get to where he wanted to be.
Right.
And Kobe kind of came in with that same attitude. And I guess, they said Mike saw a lot of similarities in the two. But I think killers recognize killers, and that we was talking about this earlier. How, Mike wanted to literally, like, take your head off, and like to be able to channel that, even when you've reached every pinnacle, right? He's had a championship, like the Drexler story, right? It's like he found moments in each situation to push him. Okay, so hold up. Yo, y'all saying me and Drex on the same level?
Yeah, when
I'll kill him.
When he said like Clyde was a threat, but I felt disrespected that you even mentioned us to get like
and then poor Dan Marley, like
Thunder Dan.
Yeah, I mean, like like he took out on Dan Marley with Jerry Krause started, like, but it's like those are the like you call him a manic, ooh, and it's like for real, like yo, you have to be a special type of
yes
to be able to each night or to find a way to keep that in you, because like you said, yo, you've won MVPs, you've been an all-star, you got a championship, so it's like, yo, can you ease up? And for him, it was never that, like, I could never do it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yo, how do you find that? And I think that, like, Donnie had made a comment to say, like, yo, y'all glancing over all the losing years for Mike. And I'm like, yo, I don't think, this, like you said, it's not about, to me, it wasn't about wins and losses at that time, because I feel like one of Mike's greatest performances came in a loss
against the Celtics.
Right.
So it's just about, it's a mindset. It was a mindset that not too many people have. And I asked this question, and I'm gonna ask this to y'all because not many people can answer, and I've been thinking about it all day. But I asked the question of, like, who playing today has that same killer? Like, if you ask me, I haven't seen it. I feel like Kobe's the last one with it that's had it.
I can tell you one guy that comes close, and I know a lot of people, the analytics don't love him, and hell, sometimes I don't love him, but Russell Westbrook plays with an umph that, and it's sometimes it's detrimental to his game and to the team. But when he step on that court, he's giving you 1,000%, and he's going to try to murder you on all levels. Now he has his faults. He's not as successful, but shit, he's got an MVP, average a triple double. Like, I think
he's got the mentality. So I think he probably would be the one. And if he had a couple rings behind his name, then then he would be celebrated in a different way. But you're talking about a generation that maybe doesn't have to fight the same way that a generation or two before them had to. Not that these guys, LeBron grew up pouring home through things, but it's different now, man. Like, struggling now is different from struggling back in the 60s and 70s, especially if you're black.
Yeah.
The struggle was different.
It's way different. The game is different.
Yeah, everything. It's just different.
I just feel like that's a place that you have to channel. I don't know. Like, I don't know where you get it from, but I just feel like, you have to be a special kind of person / like, because it's part cray as well. Like,
it's all crazy. He's able to channel it and play basketball, but you see it leaking into other things, gambling. His fan, like, he's just. I don't know the brother MJ. I really don't.
We know.
We don't hang out. He ain't on my Kwanzaa list. But I don't know. Just even when I see him interact with other people, it's almost like they're all walking on eggshells around him.
What now?
Well, just even like the security guards, buddies, Quinn Buckner, and like those guys, just like Ahmad Rashad. They're almost like they're like surrogates. They're like, yo, MJ, you want to do this? And I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of having groupies.
But here's the thing. I don't know if that's on purpose. I think that's more of a symptom of Jordan's success. Mm. So how often are you have a group of friends and everyone's successful, but one is like light years more successful than, like, Ahmad Rashad was a star NFL player, married Felicia Rashad. He's been on TV his whole daggone life. He's successful, but like this other dude is really, like, I think it's just a symptom of being around somebody that literally is one of a kind.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Almost like a Michael Jackson. Like they're even his own brother's probably like, damn, I don't even know my brother.
I mean,
except Tito. Tito know him.
Well, so one of the things with Jordan's drive, and you mentioned it with Kobe and maybe Westbrook having it as well, but you see the same thing in hip hop in the 80s and 90s versus hip hop now. Rappers back then, at the same time when Jordan was coming up, those rappers had some of that same, like, let me go knock this dude's head off, in the booth.
Right.
Rappers today don't have that at all.
Nah.
It's the same thing. And it's funny how Jordan in the doc, they tie him in with hip hop, even though he wasn't hip hop at all when we were growing up.
Right.
Like,
yes, right. He hated
like
hip-hop.
that wasn't his thing at all, and it's still not his thing, really.
Yeah. I think that came from the shoe. Like the shoe was so popular that of course the hip hop community gravitated to the sneaker, and that made him hip hop. But yeah, he was not hip hop at all, and that was a good comparison too. It's just like like I said, it's watching that last night, and since then, like I've been thinking, like, yo, who and where does that come from? I mean, like, somebody threw LeBron at me, right? And I love LeBron. I'm a LeBron fan. I don't think LeBron has that killer that Mike and Kobe has. I've seen killer moments from certain players. Like LeBron has had killer moments where he's locked in and you ain't stopping.
It's unstoppable.
But Mike and Kobe brought that mentality every day. You know what I mean? And in every moment, practice to golfing to, like you said, gambling to the real game. Like it's got to
be exhausting, right? Like, but it's what makes him so special. He is so special. He's a maniac, but he's special. He's our maniac. How about that?
So one of the things about him, the way they weave in all those things, the hip hop and all that, like there are two reasons I think that Mike's brand is associated with rap music, and the sneaker is the major reason. But what pushed the sneaker is one, obviously his on the court play did it, but then having Spike Lee do those commercials and the sneakers being featured in Spike movies, which were specifically geared towards the young black community in the 90s, like. Having a pair of Jordans was driving a Ferrari, and it is to a degree. It's still that way today.
Yeah, sir. It just, like you said, how it just fit. Like it all just the sneakers, the Spike Lee when rap was coming of age, and it just all fit. And I don't know if it just was a great time. We had Mike Tyson, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, like as the great Christopher Wallace is, like it just fit. It's just and I don't know. I think now everything is so segmented even more than it was. So I don't know if things are just going to all blend in like that. What do you guys think?
No, look, that's lightning in a bottle, man.
Yeah,
you when you hear Mike talking, like I never knew he wanted to sign with Adidas. Like I never knew that, right? So Converse is the big boy on the block, and I've got a pair of Converse weapons in my closet, the Magic Johnson joints, but they were the big boy on the block. And you got Adidas. And I actually did some research on what happened with Adidas not signing Mike. Like, it wasn't that they didn't want to, but the founder or the president had just passed away. So his wife had taken over, and his wife was sick. So each kid was running a separate Adidas division. And not only was like their biological kids running each division, but then the husbands of those kids had their say so also. So things were really complicated. So they wanted to bring him on, but just the nature of the timing, they missed out. And so, but he didn't want to even sign with Nike. And to hear those guys in that documentary say all Nike wanted to do was sell 3 million sneakers in the first 4 years. Right. And they sold 126 million sneakers in the first year.
Yeah. Like he basically, he saved the company, or he definitely,
he saved sneakers.
Yes. He saved sneakers. And the thing about it, by the way, one thing about Adidas straight up, Run DMC better be owning about 12% of that company because they made that damn company.
You still wear superstars, shell
I
toes?
got my Stan Smiths ready for the summer when you're ready. The summer might be canceled this year, but 2021.
So let me ask y'all this: if Jordan signs with Adidas, does he have the same sneaker success that he has now?
I don't know, man. Like, it depends. Like, a lot on the designers and like
the timing of it. It's
like Nike. One thing about being a young company, you're willing to take risk. So they paid him $500,000 when superstars back then were getting $100,000. Here's this kid that hadn't even done anything, $500,000, right? Then, his sneakers are red and black. The league had never seen red and black sneakers before. They even fined him. Nike was willing to cover the fine. Like the genius of Mike's agent, I can't think of his name now. David Falk, to take a team player and market him like a single sport player.
Yeah.
I mean, that was ahead of its time.
Just utter brilliance. Utter brilliance.
But hold up. How much do we give props to what's it? Is it Gloria? Is his mom named Gloria?
Dolores, I think.
Dolores.
Yeah.
Dolores. How much listen, how many we owe her some props on that too, because he didn't want to take the meeting. Yeah, he didn't want to take the meeting.
She need her picture on the Nike campus somewhere.
She should be on the Hall of Fame.
I always tell people there's a handful of people who can really like say whatever to you, and his mother, your mom is generally one of those people who can pretty much say whatever, right? And regardless if you wanted to sign with this company, at least out of respect, you're going to hear him out,
right?
And that meeting. That changed his, like, not only did he change Nike, but Nike changed him. Like, if he signs with Converse or Adidas or Reebok, there's no way. No way.
I mean, if he signs with Converse, like,
he's just another cog.
He's just another big star on the label. But like, and that's another interesting part that Jerome brought up, that David Falk came in with the Air Jordan name. And so we're watching it, and I'm sitting there with Misha, and I'm like, yo, it's amazing how, you look at something that's so big now, but how simple it was that it came up with. Like, he just said, yo, oh, y'all calling yourself Air Nikes? Oh, yo, Air Jordan. And that's how this whole thing came about. You know what I mean? But it's just, I don't know. I'm loving the documentary just from the backstories. I mean, we all know what happened on the court.
Right.
You know what I mean? But a lot of the backstories I feel like are amazing. And to see that that's how the whole Air Jordan brand was spawned, just off of first of all, off of his mom saying, yo, you going out of respect. His mom stepping up, being, like being a black mom and saying, yo, no, I don't care who you play for. Like I said, you going to get on that plane and you going to go.
And they paying for it. Your ass gone. Okay?
Right. We go check this out, see what they got to say. And
it's just like you said, Mama Jordan, she needs her own little plaque somewhere in Nike's campus. Y'all got enough money, make it happen. This Mama Jordan's dining hall or something.
Yeah. I mean, she
built that. Nike, like you said, was a kind of a blah, whack running company, and
and that was interesting too, like for the fact that he didn't even want to take the meeting. So we know Nike as being what Nike is now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I mean, basically, everybody wants to sign with Nike.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, since we know, but just to hear the backstory of that, like, Nike was whack, and he didn't even want to take the meeting with them. You know what I mean? Because they were just upstart, and he, now I don't want to do nothing with them. I thought that was interesting as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there were even so, the Gatorade slogan, like Mike. So Gatorade went to Disney back in the day, and there was a slogan from a Disney movie that they wanted to use, and Disney was trying to charge them like $3 million, and Nike couldn't afford that at the time. So that's how they came up with the Like Mike, and then that slogan became iconic. But imagine if Disney would have had the foresight to be like, all right, well, let's work out a deal or something like that. I mean, there's a number of things that just they are perfectly lined up, man.
Yeah.
Like perfectly lined up for him to blow the way that he blew up.
1000%. It's you can't script it. You know what I'm saying? It just happens. It just organically happens. And then you add the fact that he's averaging 30 some odd points. It just I mean, but so getting back to one part, 92, after they destroy
they beat the Lakers in 91 and the Blazers in 92, right?
Yeah. So I was just thinking to myself, right? Like, I guess I was 11, 12, right? And I remember they had Bulls. My dad got me Bulls versus Blazers for graduating 7th grade or passing. Lord knows, long story. And then, do you guys remember Dream Team had a basketball game too?
Yeah.
Like the Dream Team, I don't understand. I don't think people get how big it was. Like this was like, I don't know what could be bigger than that as of today. What's comparable?
I mean, well, look, it's the greatest collection of basketball players ever assembled because the United States kept getting their butt kicked. And even the Dream Team, I mean, look, it's still look, the Dream Team is the greatest team ever assembled, but you take off John Stockton and Christian Laettner and add on Shaq and Isaiah Thomas. And I mean, now you're talking, it's even greater than what it was. And I know Jordan talked about the chemistry may have been messed up if you added Isaiah, but I mean, they weren't even, everybody on that team wasn't a superstar. Like they left a couple cats off. And it's similar to what happened in 2008 here, where United States started sending the B and C squad. They got their asses kicked, and then they came with the Redeem Team, and they blew everybody out. I mean, it's the same thing. But here's a quick question for y'all: Redeem Team or Dream Team? Who wins in a game best of 7?
I gotta go with the Dream Team.
Mike won't let them lose. It's not even about. The Redeem Team had who? Kobe, LeBron,
Dwayne Wade,
all great players. I love them all to death.
That was a dope team. That was a dope team too.
Yeah, it's just Mike's not letting them lose. I'm not letting us lose. So
well, I mean, so this is the way. I mean, now listen, like you said, Kobe, LeBron, D Wade, Melo, those
Chris Paul.
Yeah,
Jason Kidd was on that team.
Yeah,
that's a squad.
Dwight Howard.
Now I'm looking at so we're gonna look at the Dream Team, right? We're gonna say, all right, for one, Bird was a shell of himself,
right? Exactly.
We're with that. Right. Magic was what are we saying about Magic?
Well, Magic was a starting point guard. Now he was coming off of
Magic wasn't.
Well,
Magic wasn't prime Magic.
Well, let's just go down the. I mean, look. So Jason Kidd started on the Redeem Team. So Magic at the end of his career versus Jason Kidd still in his prime.
I got to know what year, what season was Jason Kidd in? Because remember, Jason Kidd couldn't shoot a lick at one point, and so what Jason Kidd we talking about?
Hold on, let me look up his numbers real quick.
Well, he don't even have to shoot, right? He could just
distributing the ball, playing defense.
I'm gonna go. I'm out of respect. I'm gonna go Magic.
Right. So then obviously there's the Kobe Jordan matchup. Clearly,
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go MJ, but I think that ultimately that could be looked at as a wash in some people's eyes.
So then you got LeBron and what? Who was the starting forward? Scotty, right?
Pippen.
So I mean, got to take LeBron over Scotty.
You know who I'm going with. But well, I get it. You got okay. We gonna go with LeBron.
Okay.
So who was the 4 on the Dream Team? Was it Malone?
Barkley.
Barkley. Right.
And Melo came off the bench on the Redeem Team. So who was the 4 on the Redeem Team?
See, we got look.
Yeah, Melo came off the bench. Remember, he
Bosh?
Was it Bosh? I can't even remember.
I'm gonna go with the front court though. I'm gonna give the Dream Team the front court because we got either D-Rob or Patrick Ewing's going to kill Dwight Howard on every level and every day. I don't care in Barcelona or Brooklyn, right? We got Barkley at that point. I'm taking Barkley over whoever you're going to put up, and then I'm going to take Malone over whoever you're going to put up in the front court.
So I do think that the Dream Team, they get the advantage on the front court because their forwards and bigs are better than the forwards and bigs on the Redeem Team.
Mm-hmm.
I think where it gets interesting is the guards and the guards and the 3. I mean, depending on what you feel Magic was at that point in his career, I don't know. I mean, out of respect, I go with Magic also because he's Magic Johnson.
Right.
But he's not 80. You know, he's not 85 Magic Johnson or 86 Magic Johnson.
True.
So so NBA Draft.net did a breakdown of the teams.
Okay.
They broke down the point guards, right? So the point guards on the Redeem team was Chris Paul, Darren Williams, and Jason Kidd. The Dream Team obviously had Magic Johnson and John Stockton.
So I got to go with the Redeem team on that, because Stockton's not. Come on, Chris Paul and Darren Williams in his prime was almost as maybe better than Chris Paul.
Who you going with? Ooh?
I mean, shit. He's right. You just almost have to go with the Redeem team on that one.
Because if Magic is tired, you're putting Stockton in against Jason Kidd, Chris Paul, and Darren Williams.
He's gonna have a couple cats working him.
So NBA Draft.net gave the edge to the Redeem team on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Okay, shooting guards on the team. Redeem team had Kobe, Dwayne Wade, and Michael Redd.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit, Michael Redd, lucky lefty.
And
Clyde was on the Dream Team too, right?
yeah,
Jordan, Clyde. And maybe they only had two guards on that team
I think they did.
because they had so many bigs.
Right.
That's why they only had 2 point guards. Also, I think it was just Jordan and Clyde.
They loaded up on the bigs, the Dream Team, because back then you played with big men.
Right. So if you're talking, who do you got, Mike? Jordan and Clyde.
Of course, this site when it start.
So if they have Jordan and Clyde, and so now you're talking Kobe, Dwayne Wade, and Michael Redd. I mean, Michael Redd is the weak link, I guess.
He can stroke that thing though.
Yeah, he can. So I mean, look, I understand why somebody's going to go with Jordan over Kobe. That's completely fine. You can make an argument that it might be a wash in a game, a series situation.
Dwayne Wade over Clyde, then that's
right. And then they don't have another two. So yeah,
I might take Dwayne Wade over Clyde. Yeah, I probably would. I would.
Yeah. The threes. I mean, Pippen, Bird. That was a shell because his back was jacked up at that point.
Mullen.
Oh, I forgot about Chris Mullen was on that team.
Yeah. So y'all had it right. The guards, the 2 guards were Jordan and Drexler on that team.
Right. Yeah.
They gave the edge to the Dream Team there.
It's because it's MJ. It's because it's MJ.
Small forwards, you had Redeem Team with LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, and Tayshaun Prince. And Dream Team, Pippen, Bird, and Mullen.
I got to go with the Redeem Team on that one.
Yeah, you got to. They gave the edge to the Redeem Team there. Power forwards. Y'all gonna laugh at this. The Redeem Team had one listed power forward, which was Carlos Boozer.
Oh my god.
The Dream Team had Malone, Barkley, and Leitner.
Well, I mean, Malone and Barkley's going to crush Carlos Boozer.
And the center spot, Redeem Team had Bosch and Dwight Howard listed as centers, and the Dream Team had Ewing and David Robinson.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes 7 games, regardless of who.
I think so. I mean, it's just hard to. I don't know. It's hard to.
Who's the second best player on the Dream Team? That's still like in their prime, other than Jordan.
Probably Chuck. Yeah. Probably Chuck.
Barkley was unstoppable those 2 years.
Yeah, Barkley was on. He was on his way up to being, because he won the MVP the next year, right?
Yeah, coming into that summer.
Yeah,
probably playing with Mike and seeing that dedication and that like energy and what it takes took him to MVP heights.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. All right, so obviously, everybody says Leitner shouldn't have been on the team. Stockton shouldn't have been on the team. Is it anybody else? Right now, we're gonna give Bird his pass because of what it was. Right.
You had to put Bird and Magic on the team.
Right. So is there anybody else that you would have taken off and put somebody else there? So we're gonna say that okay, we would have switched Isaiah with Stockton. So we know Isaiah gets one. So let's say, well, let me ask you that first. Is it anybody else other than Leitner in Stockton that you would have taken off that team?
Well, if he could have played for the U.S., Akeem's got to be on that team.
Okay, so
you take off one of the. I mean, you take off David Robinson or Patrick Ewing.
You got to keep Dave Robinson because he had that whole Admiral.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was just good, and he's a great guy. He's a really nice guy. I think you could have really taken off Mullen for Dominique Wilkins.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good one.
How come Neek didn't make it?
I don't know.
When did he tear his Achilles? Was it around that time?
I thought that was
later, like 95 ish. Because remember he went to the Celtics in 96 or something, and then he went to the Clippers. Like he had his back half of his career got kind of shady there.
Yeah.
So you're gonna say, so let's say 3 spots are open, right? Let's say Stockton, Leitner, Mullen, right? Let's say 4 for shits and giggles, right? Stockton, Mullen, Leitner, and let's say one of the 2 centers, right? So let's say Ewing. What would we say Ewing was at that time?
I mean, he was a top 10 player, top 7.
He was still, yeah. So the Knicks were, because then they ran into the Knicks. That's the following year they ran into New York. Yeah.
Right.
So Ewing was still that dude. So 3 or 4 players, 3 or 4 spots open. Who are you putting in? Zeke.
I mean, yeah, Zeke's a definite.
Zeke, yeah, he's a given.
Neek is a good one. I think I'd probably put Neek on there. I mean, look, if you got to bring a college kid, I think it should have been Shaq. I know Leitner might be the greatest college player of all time, but you look at their rookie seasons and obviously what they became.
Yeah.
I mean, because if Akeem can't be on it because he's not he wasn't born in the United States. I don't know how they worked it out back then, but if you can't take Akeem, Shaq is next up, right? I mean, who else you taking if you're taking a big?
Well, so it could have took Brad Daugherty
over Shaq. I mean, Daugherty was good, but
Shaq wasn't proven. I get it now. He's great, but at that point he was still in college. Daugherty was a 23-10 guy on a 55-win team.
Well, I'd rather leave Daugherty off and then put on. So I'd rather put Sean Kemp on that team over Daugherty. Wait, what year are we talking? 90, 92?
Yeah, he wasn't there yet. He wasn't great.
Maybe they
picked a damn good team.
I'm about to say, maybe they had the best of the best at that time. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, and Stockton wasn't no slouch, you know what I mean? But Zeke was Zeke. And naturally, you're going to compare because they play the same position. You know he wasn't going to beat out Magic, so naturally you're going to knock Stockton.
Mike said in the documentary, Magic is number 1, greatest point guard of all time, but Isaiah is number 2. He doesn't like him, but his talent, his accomplishment, he's number 2.
You think those guys could ever
no.
Today, let's just say they both walk into Starbucks and order like a Frappuccino.
I think they can be cordial in public, but it's clear that Mike doesn't like him still. I mean,
yeah.
But why does he hold that grudge?
Because I think that's who he is.
Yeah.
That fuels everything that makes him great.
Yeah.
I mean,
let me ask you guys a question. Do you think Mike is miserable now without that type of competition? Like, he's a terrible owner, right? Like, he's a terrible basketball owner. Because it's just not.
What makes him a terrible owner?
Oh, you can pull up the Charlotte Bobcats. He's just honestly, he's just an absentee owner. He'd rather play golf, which is cool if you hire the right people.
But what if it's also not just so? Maybe a part of it is sure he's not a great owner, but maybe also is even though Charlotte is considered a major city, North Carolina can't support an NBA team because they're a college. It's a college town in a lot of ways. I mean. You look around the league, and there are these towns that have NBA teams, and they probably shouldn't.
Well, they shouldn't. Why? Because they don't win, or why? Because would you say Memphis is a big time city? San Antonio?
So I'd say San Antonio is an outlier. I mean, look, they had Tim Duncan for 20 years. Talk to me another 20 years from now. Let's see how great that franchise is.
Okay.
And so you look at
city. Would you call them an outlier too?
Yeah, they draft that draft.
How many outliers can one have?
But they are outliers, right? I mean, look, the way OKC drafted 3 years straight, we've never seen anything like that, right?
So why couldn't Jordan draft smart?
Yeah, but some of that's luck also, right? Like, okay, KD's a given, but no one knew Russell Westbrook and Harden was going to be Russell Westbrook and Harden.
That's true.
I don't know if they
even Golden State
drafted fourth, James Harden fifth. So it wasn't like these guys were. Now, I don't know if they were MVPs.
Steph and Clay were drafted like 6th and 7th, but no one thought that Steph would be a unanimous MVP. So some of that's luck, man.
Well, I get it, but I think drafting is a science. True. I do think if you're drafting terribly every year, though, eventually you should hit on a couple. And has the Bobcats hit on any?
Well, see, but that's what I'm saying. So, Mike, and I'm surprised, but it might be coming soon after this, after how this doc is going to has saved face for the NBA. Okay. Mike hasn't gotten the number 1 pick. I don't remember him having any top.
Adam Morrison was what? What pick was he?
Oh, was he 2? He was 2, wasn't he?
But he wasn't. Mike didn't own the team. Didn't Bob Johnson own the team?
You're right.
Back then.
Well, they're the Hornets now. Sorry, I call them the Bobcats. My bad.
The league, Mike. You're right. The league owes them a bone.
Yeah, like Mike. I mean, he ain't got the. He need one, and every franchise that all, like you said, all the outliers, they've gotten one. Cleveland. I mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
They got 2, remember?
Yeah. Who else?
Bennett.
Yeah. Well, and then you got, like you said, San Antonio. I mean, they
tanked to get Duncan.
They drafted. I mean, he fell into their lap. You know what I mean? OKC, like that was. I give it to you, like that was great, like drafting, but you knew who, like you had a good feeling about KD, but we didn't see this in Harden and Russell. I feel like you saw more of it in Harden than you did in Westbrook if you just went off of their college careers. Westbrook wasn't like Westbrook in college.
He was just fast.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's part of where the luck comes in. But it's most of the time these people, they fall into your lap, man. Like they need NBA got to give Mike a bone, man. And then if he messes that up,
if you gave him a bone, he'll just gamble it away. Oops.
So hold on. Let's talk about his gambling, right? Because I was talking to people on so all right, the episode comes up about the gambling, and so me and Shanae are watching it, and I'm like, just watch this part, and she's like, why? He gambles. It's not illegal. I'm like, just watch the story that they end up telling about the gambling back then. And it was like it was a national scandal that he was gambling, and people on my timeline were like, he's addicted to gambling, and I said, look, I don't know if he's addicted to gambling or not. I don't think he is. Typically, when you're addicted to something, you lose everything, and he's gotten more successful as the years that went on. So I don't know if he's addicted to it. What?
I'm sorry, sir. Can I interject something? Can you be a functioning alcoholic and be addicted to liquor?
Not your whole lifetime.
I'll just say from your 25 to your 30s. I think you can be a functioning alcoholic, addicted to alcohol, addicted to drugs, and be a functioning human being and not be a degenerate loser.
Well, how long does that last, though?
Right.
I mean, you don't think we know functioning alcoholics? They have good lives. They have good families. They need alcohol.
But
they need to gamble.
Eventually, I think it wears thin, and it starts to show somewhere.
Oh, in their kidneys.
Well, yeah, but like in Mike's case, even being as successful as he is, it starts to show in their pockets. He's all because like you. I feel like if you got a gambling problem, like I feel like he would have gambled off some major shit, right? And we would have heard that shit by now.
But he couldn't have.
I'm sure he's lost a ton of money, but like David Aldridge said, he has it.
We say 10,000 is like $10.
Yeah,
Damn.
so like he has it. So like, of course, if we watch and they say Mike lost 60,000 in a bet, of course we're gonna be like, we're gonna fucking have a heart attack because nigga, if I lose 60,000, I'm jumping out the window. I mean, what I got? Look, I don't have nothing else to live for. You just took everything, but. So you hear that, you looking at it like, but to Mike, it's not like that. Like, I mean, shit, we've seen now he didn't have Mike money, but we've heard the stories of the other players and Antoine Walker, those
108
guys.
mil.
He made a lot of money, and those guys are look where they are now financially off of gambling. So, like I think, like Alex said, they made it into like
a national story.
Yeah, it was like like they made it. Honestly, they made it into a situation that made it look like he was like a fucking drug addict or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like Mike got caught doing crack. Oh my god! Like it was like that. It's like I gamble. I like to gamble.
But I think sometimes what we're missing here is who's to say he didn't throw a game.
So you think maybe the most competitive athlete we've ever seen threw a game?
I think. Well,
you would have heard that by now.
Why though? God, we don't hear a lot of stuff. Like
we would have heard, just like the dude came out and said about the dude he was golfing with. Nah, not that one. That's white guy.
That's a great name.
The white guy that put out the story about
Sam Smith.
Yeah, well, not Sam Smith. The guy that came out and put out. Yeah, that said he put out an article saying him and Mike had a gambling issue or something like that. Like it would have came from something like that. Like, Mike threw a game. I can't see that.
Okay.
I can't see that. No, don't get me wrong. I can see.
You couldn't see Donald Trump as president. I mean, shit happens, bro. Remember, we just said stuff happens. Like it's not that we design it or write it. It just happens. I love the guy MJ. He's a maniac though, and a compulsive, degenerate gambler. Besides that, he's a great guy.
You really think he threw a game, yo?
I don't. Listen, when you're that competitive and that wound up, man, he could have probably lost $200,000 in a golf game. Like he's that compulsive,
right? Okay,
but see, him losing $200,000 is like us losing 200.
And on top of that, like he said in the doc, I bet on myself, and that losing $200K in a golf game is him betting on himself.
He must be a terrible golfer, dude.
Oh, we know that. That's not
golf is not an easy sport. Let me tell you.
But I mean, I just don't. I can't see. I can't see him throwing no game. I mean, you add, like you said, him being an ultra competitive like that. I can't see someone talking him into missing a shot on purpose or playing. I can't see. I mean, bro, like he turned Dan Marley into a reason to fucking go out there and beat the Suns. Not Charles Barkley, Dan Marley.
Under Dan, why you do that to that man?
No, what they did to Tony Kukoc. I mean, it wasn't even his fault.
I was just here. Like I didn't even do anything,
I was telling Misha, I was like, watch this part. Watch what they did to Kukoc.
They dogged his ass.
And she was like, why were they so mean? I was like,
because they're maniacs. That's what you gotta tell them.
You imagine the GM today negotiating with some player, some unknown player across the world, while the superstar or second best player doesn't have a contract.
Yeah.
Like you could, our GM would get maybe fired today for that nonsense.
Yeah, and I mean, just you praising everybody else, but
the dudes that just won you 2 championships.
Yeah, like how? I mean, where did the Dan Marley thing come from?
I guess Jerry Krause was probably like, man, that Thunder Dan can really play defense. Jordan probably walked by, overheard, and was like, all right.
Watch it. I mean, Krause wrote a lot of checks for motherfuckers, yo.
It sounded like Krause had a thing for white players.
Mm-hmm. I didn't want to say it on your podcast, but yeah.
I mean, you're in the midst of a championship run with maybe the greatest duo of all time, and you're fawning over Thunder Dan Marley and a dude from Croatia. Like,
and you're telling him that you're making it known that Tony Kukoc is going to be the face of this franchise.
Yeah.
Why you have the best player in the world on your team? Like that check that he wrote for Tony Kukoc's ass at that moment, it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
another point that kind of, remember Pippen? I just don't like Pippen. Great guy, great player, but he's just. Remember he said,
Why don't you like Pippen?
Because he said this type of statement. I don't think Kukoc can last in the NBA. Like really? Why?
Okay.
Because it's the dream team. I have 11 players conspiring to crush me.
It wasn't against the dream.
Kukoc became an integral part of that championship. Yes. And he saved Pippen's whack ass when he didn't want to go in the game.
One shot. He saved Pippen's career off of one shot.
Can you imagine Mike doing something like that? Like, stop being Pippen's a punk.
He's not. He's not. You were just praising him before this game.
He's a great player. I ain't never say he's not great.
So him saying that he's not ready for the NBA.
No, he said he couldn't play the NBA, and even Mike was like, "I don't think that's fair. He's going against the dream team."
Oh, that's what Mike was thinking. Mike knew I can't say this right now, but that's what Mike was thinking.
Well, I know Kukoc today in today's NBA, of all these stretch fours, he would have made $200 million.
Oh, man, he'd probably be a max player. I mean,
you was okay with him being called the white Magic Johnson, the Croatian Magic Johnson? Like, come on, Like,
I was always part of the Drazen Petrovic, to be honest, and Dino Raja.
And Tony could ball. Like, he could play, but I mean, you got all of those things. You dubbed the Croatian Magic Johnson, right? The team that drafted you, the GM is saying you're about to be the future of this franchise when you got the best player in the world and arguably the second best player in the league at the time, who doesn't have a contract at the time. Of course, Scotty's upset.
Sure, I get it. I mean, hey, listen, they proved their point. They dogged his ass out. But a quick question, fellas. One thing that jumped out to me while I was watching it, the amount of cigars that Michael Jordan smoked in his peak. Like, like, don't get me wrong, we're all, we've all had cigars. I'm an avid cigar smoker. This guy was lighting Cohibas up on a Tuesday after practice, still scoring 40 points a game.
Well, the way athletes take care of their bodies today is different than what they did back then. But also, clearly, Mike was special, right? So he could go smoke a cigar and then go drop 40 on you, and and
then go play 36 holes of golf walking.
He was different.
Yeah,
before him, players were doing lines of coke in the locker rooms.
Well, yeah. Remember, he was just drinking his orange juice and folding his clothes up, though.
I have no reason not to believe him.
I believe him at that point.
He was a rookie.
Here we go again.
Rookie Mike, I believe.
He's 18. My peers are doing lines of coke. They have all the girls. They look cool. They got gold chains. I'm not going to do a line a rail or two.
And I still live with my mom. And I'm just getting here. Like, I believe him at that moment. Do I think am I going to say he's never did it? No. But at that moment, as a rookie who wants to come in and prove that he's, hey, I'm following the lead. I'm going to be the best player on this team. I got to prove myself. I don't think he did it at that moment.
Fair enough.
But you see later on, I mean, shit, him, Scotty, and Harper was sitting there drinking some Miller Lite, like after a game. Like, I mean, so you can see they had their own vice at different points of their career. But at that moment, I don't think he did.
And by the time at least they're doing that, they're 3-time champions already.
Yeah,
I mean, Phil's not the type to bust you. Like, look, you winning, Phil's gonna let you obviously get away with things that you need to get away with. And they're grown men, man. Like, players weren't policed the same way they are now.
Speaking of that, would you think that one of the big things that kind of jumped out at me, especially when Jordan was in his hotel room on the sofa lighting up his Cohiba, did you almost feel sorry for him in a way? Like he was a prisoner of his fame?
He is. Him, Michael Jackson, anyone at that level, they are so unique that they're certainly prisoners of their own fame.
Yeah, I did feel bad for him at that because it's like, I mean, when they broke it down to how his life was, okay, wake up, he leave his house, he's getting mobbed. Mm-hmm. He get out the car to go into the arena or the practice facility, he's getting mobbed. Mm-hmm. He comes out of the locker room, he's getting mobbed. After the game, he's mobbed. Going into the locker room, he's mobbed. Like, yo, he literally was mobbed every step of the way until he got home. And like, it put me in a place. I'm like, yo, that shit would get on my nerves.
It would get, yeah.
And you have to be so careful in cases like that because, you know, these players get bad refs because he wouldn't sign this for my son.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, what you're not realizing is that your son was the 900th person that just came that I just signed. You know what? I'm sorry. You know, you missed. I'm sorry. I gotta go. You know what I mean? But they catch a bad rep for that. And somebody like that. I mean, we know we've heard the stories of Mike wouldn't sign for this person. I think there's the Chameleon. What's the rapper name?
Millionaire.
Yeah, where he doesn't like Mike because Mike refuses to sign something for him. It's like, I mean, it's like, bro, like maybe I just wanted to chill that day, yo. But it's like, I mean, I couldn't imagine that being my life, basically 24/7.
24/7, right?
And the only solace he had was, yo, today
on the court was real solace,
right? But you know, off the court it was okay. I get to play a little golf, but really, like him sitting in, I'm just going to chill here today and smoke a cigar and watch TV. Right. I couldn't imagine. I did feel sorry for him at that, and when they showed that part,
people have expectations for everybody else but themselves, and it's hard to put yourself in someone's shoes and say, well, maybe he just needs to chill sometimes. Let me ask y'all this. I mean, they went into it, and I didn't think they would, but they did. Do you think Mike owed the black community more than he gave when he was playing?
That's a good question.
This is like the word owed is very tenuous. It could go either way. Like you said, it was different times. Players today feel more empowered to do it.
I mean, he had the greatest example of Muhammad Ali that literally sacrificed his career. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and he's the standard, right, for activism as an athlete. And there's
Ali's
examples
in a different world, though. Like Jordan is in a different world. Ali's in another universe. Like you said, he literally gave up being the heavyweight champion of the world for 4 or 5 years in his prime.
Took his prime away. Yep.
To believe in something, and most people don't believe in anything.
So, like, I appreciate that Mike talked about that. You know, like he didn't shy away from it. I do agree that whether or not he made the statement, I mean, it sounds like he did make the statement, Republicans buy sneakers also, but he said he made it in jest. Regardless if it was in jest or he made it as more of a serious statement, I do think that he bared a responsibility. We all have a responsibility to do what's right. And when you make it to their level, when everybody's looking up at you and you could basically, you endorsing someone or you making a statement could sway a lot. Mm-hmm. He did have a responsibility. He's now, is it easy for me to say that sitting here? Sure it is. And it's easy for anyone to expect someone else to do something that they themselves might not be willing to do if they were in that seat. But I mean, his own mother was like, you need to endorse this guy. And that he didn't listen to her on that one. He did cut a check. He did cut a check, but
he might do a lot of stuff on the low.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan it's almost like when I see, like, I don't want to mention his name because people are going to get upset, but it's like when I see Jay-Z doing, like, being conscious Hove, it's cool. It maybe ain't for everybody though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe everyone's not built to be like that.
I mean, I agree with that. I don't think that's everybody's lane, right? And he said that, like, I've never, the politics thing it's not my lane. And I think that I can say if we look at it and we look back, like, he's never really been tied to any political, anybody in the game. Anybody in the political game, we've never seen him really tied to anybody like that. So I guess you could say he's been consistent with that. But I do agree with you, Alex, that I think, when you're in that line, when you make it to that point and you make it to that stature, and you know that there's some injustice going on, especially in your hometown.
Yeah.
I do think that you have somewhat of a, I mean, like you said, Ood, I don't want to use the word ode, but these are the people that have supported you, right? In high school, at college, and even in the NBA, right? So I do think that you have some responsibility to speak up a little bit, because early on in his career, right? He's never had a problem speaking up against management. He spoke up against management numerous times early on in his career and throughout his career. So, I mean, it's not, it's not that you won't do it. So I think that, I'm wondering if his agents and other people got in his ear like, yo, you want to
stay out of this shit.
Yeah.
Like,
leave this one alone.
At this point, like I was reading a couple of good stories on Craig Hodges, and brilliant 3-point shooter. Only man I know to go to the White House in a daishiki bombing 3-pointers. Okay?
That picture needs to be like
that shit is dope.
Yeah, that is a dope
picture. He bombing threes in a daishiki. But it's tough because I kind of agree with Alex. I really do. He should have said something, but on the one end, you also look at it like Republicans do buy sneakers, and I'm in the I'm really not into basketball. The Chicago Bulls are like my part-time job. My employee is Nike. Okay, like they pay me 30 some odd 50, 60, 70 million dollars a year.
Maybe back then, but now he's got enough juice where he can say whatever he wants. And he doesn't say any, I mean, he's still
but can he really? He's the bigger you are, you more insulated you get.
We began the show talking about the connection that the documentary makes between him and hip hop. Yet when we were growing up, he wasn't hip hop at all, but he did use hip hop to sell his sneakers and to sell his brand. And so the hip hop community is largely marginalized. And here you are, the most popular black man on the planet, at least one of them, one of the most popular figures on the planet. You're using hip hop to sell your brand, yet you won't speak out to help those that are within that community. There is something wrong with that. And I understand Barack talked about basically, when you're the first, it's really difficult to jump out there. And I completely, I agree with those things, but I do think that Muhammad Ali, guys like Tommy Smith, like Jackie Robinson, like it wasn't as if Mike would have been the very first black athlete to be on a national stage and say, no, this isn't right. He would have just been following a long line. He was the first one that was at the top that said, well, I'm not going to say anything. And then I think for a generation, he made it cool for athletes not to speak up. And now you're starting to see more speak up.
Yep. And, it's that's a difficult question and angle to go at.
It's a difficult situation to be in.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally. And he does have he's pulled on a lot of sides. Like you said, he has benefited off the hip hop African American community, and he's also, Nike is like, I don't need you to be rocking a boat. I need you to chill and sell sneakers and live this beautiful wannabe like Mike and this type of lifestyle. But
I mean, I understand that, but Nike wouldn't be Nike without him. Like if he doesn't blow up, then is anybody wearing Nikes now?
And then look at Nike now. Look at the stance that Nike takes now
with Colin Kaepernick, and LeBron,
with all of that. Like they get behind
Serena?
those. Yeah, they get behind that stuff now. So it's like
maybe they grew too. Maybe they grew in the moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mike Mike don't like the type to grow. He is what he is at this point. An ultra competitive maniac, chain cigar smoker, gambler. Nice guy though.
Let me ask y'all one question. Did y'all believe Horace when he said he wasn't behind the stories?
No, I mean it was coming from somewhere, and BJ Armstrong said it was Horace also. So I mean,
just admit it. It's 50 years later. No one cares.
Who did Horace think he was? I mean, he was a good player, but
he wanted to be. You know what? Let me tell you who Horace actually thought he was better than, and more important than Scotty. And when Horace left, 95, he got that money. And he went to Orlando, and Orlando beats Mike. And then when they carry him off the court, he was feeling himself a little bit. That's all. That happens.
I mean, but for you to be behind this story because you tired of being third fiddle, I got you paid. I got you paid. I'm the reason why Orlando just threw this money at you.
He got paid. He was one of those guys that got like $15 million back when it was tough.
Yeah, he got a really good deal out of that. And I mean, it's one of those things like, yo, I can't. I mean, in a place like that, he couldn't turn that money down.
Nah, you got to go. I can't stay in Chicago. And no. But listen, Mike did a little snitching there, and there's no snitching allowed. We're supposed to be a brother code, a bro code.
And and I think people call him Mike a snitch, but like I think a lot of that stuff he was doing was in fun, like the Mike Burrell thing. Scotty Burrell, right. Who is he? I mean, who is Scotty Burrell for me to be snitching on?
Right.
I think he was joking. I think he was clearly like having fun with the young guy on the team, with the 11th guy on the team. Yeah, so I mean, I didn't take that with snitching. Then they said, who else did they say he snitched on? I guess they were saying Horse when he said Horse was the one that dropped that told everything or whatever. Like, no, I'm not snitching. I'm telling the truth. Like, that's who told this. That's who started this whole story.
You know what? Another part of the doc that really kind of stood out to me was the Randy Brown ticket thing.
Oh yeah,
like that thing was uncomfortable. Was it me or was he like, all right, Randy Brown comes in there and asks his dad for some tickets, right? And Mike's just like, he's like in his own office, his own world, with all the little minions around him, like the Godfather. Like, I gotta go through these people to talk to the Godfather. So Randy Brown's like, I need 2 tickets. Mike's like, yo, you need them close together. He's like, I don't care. And probably for 2 shorties. They just need to be in the building, right? So he gives them the tickets, and then he's like, they start joking. He's like, all right, go, leave. Like, I was like,
nah, that's not how. See, that's not how it went.
I mean, he said a joke. He was like, yo, I don't care if it comes from God. And Mike's like, shit, I'm God. It was.
I just gave you those. God just gave you those two.
Yeah, and it was like, what am I supposed to say?
He was definitely feeling himself.
Yeah, I mean, it's no doubt about that he felt himself. It's no doubt about it. But I think Mike also did a lot of things. I mean, in joking with these cats, like I think he played on his status a lot. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I am the guy. I just got you some tickets. But he realized, yo, let me hold up. Let me not say that for somebody take this the wrong way. Like, it's like, I mean, it's just like, just imagine. Like, I mean, always when we talk like this, I always bring up the situation of Barack Obama.
Right,
like,
right. Wait. Is it President Obama? Because before 2 weeks ago in episodes 2 and 3, it was just a guy from Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago resident. It's ridiculous.
I was like, wait. He was president?
Right. So, I mean, I always bring up how the way throughout his 2 terms that he kept his cool, right? And he was so masterful in what he said and more so in what he didn't say, right?
Right.
So, like, just imagine having to walk around 20. Well, you probably get those few hours in the crib with your family that you can let loose, but just imagine the majority of your day you got to be so calculated on what you say and have to worry about what you say because someone could take it and twist it and do this and that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he was saying. Like, now, I don't know how many ways you could take someone saying Republicans buy shoes too, but that's kind of how he said that happened to him too. But I mean, still, like, yo, you literally have to watch what you're saying all the time. Like, I just couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine that, man.
Nah, you're walking on eggshells, and I think some of the players did too around him. Because that Randy Brown, like, I was like, don't get me wrong, Randy Brown, player 0, as we call him. All right, get out of here now. What? I'm 36 years old. Yo, like, don't play me like that, Mike. Damn.
He was a I mean, like, Yo, I'm one of the elder cats on the squad. Like, yo, y'all the young boys.
Randy Brown wasn't a young boy though. Randy Brown was like an older player too.
Yeah, but you know what Randy Brown was. Randy Brown created the Damon Jones role.
That might be, that's M.O. Carr, yo.
Like, you know how Damon Jones, like, you know, he found a way to stick with LeBron wherever he went, and it turned into a coaching, impromptu coaching job. Like, that was Randy Brown. Randy Brown, I thought, coached too with Pete Myers, didn't he?
I think so too. So what that mean? Like, I gotta like what? Like, you gotta talk to me anyway?
No, but he's just that cat that is really like a little older, but he acts like the young boys. You know, that's just what Damon Jones is. That's how it was with LeBron. Damon Jones is older than LeBron.
Yes, he is by a lot, probably.
So it's like, I mean, that's the way I took it. I think Mike catch a bad rap on some of the shit, and I think also that Mike was an asshole. But I think to be that guy, to be the player that he was, you got to have it. Me and Misha was sitting here, and she was like, I hated Charles Barkley. He was such an asshole. And I said, Mike was too. Not like that. And I was like, listen, to be that good at one thing, to be great at something like anything, a part asshole in you that allows you to be that way. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to have a little bit of that in you.
The doc is exposing, I mean, a lot in good ways and I think, you know, not so great ways. But I'm wondering where it goes from here. I mean, they still have to finish out the 98 season, but I do wonder if they're going to touch on his Wizards years at all, his own, you know, him as an owner at all in the final couple episodes. I mean, there's a lot to still talk about. I mean, so
it could definitely have a shit with how many parts? Like 4? It could definitely, you could stretch this to about 20 parts. Because these 2 hours go quick. Like,
they do go quick.
You'd be like, damn, it's already over?
So 7 and 8 is supposed to be about him retiring, right?
Yeah, makes sense because we just want to, yeah.
They didn't go into him quitting for baseball.
Yeah.
They
completely glossed over that.
I think that's coming.
Because he just won the 93 championship. He's exhausted, and then his dad's going to get murdered.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be like, you know what, man, I'm done with this.
Yeah, so I think that's the next 2. So they've announced that it's 10 episodes, right?
Mm-hmm. I thought it was 9. Maybe it is.
Don't tell me that is coming.
No, it's just 2 by 2 by 2 by 2.
Yeah, okay.
So I think, I mean, I think it is a ton to be told. I just wonder how they gonna squeeze it all in there. Let me ask y'all this: do you like the format? Do you like how they bounce back? They go back and then bounce forward and kind of bounce in between the time frames. Do you like how they do that?
To be honest, I don't think it's a well done documentary.
Really,
I think I think the timing, we have nothing to do. We're all quarantined. I think the subject matter, Michael Jordan, is, you know, obviously incredible. I just think it's not a well done documentary. It's just, and that kind of makes sense. Like Alex said, that it wasn't done till 2-3 weeks ago or last week or whatever. So, to me, it's coming off like a Fast and Furious type of movie. Whereas Fast and Furious is going to make $500 million, but they're not good movies. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but I think one of the things that's smart about it is if they go in chronological order and they slow things down a bit, do you keep the modern day fan interested? By bouncing back and forth, by speeding things up, by talking about some of the off the court stuff, that probably keeps this younger generation engaged. And so, you know, it certainly wasn't finished when this thing rolled out because it wasn't supposed to debut, I think, to June 18th or something like that. I think the Netflix version of it will probably be a bit cleaner, more put together. But the way they're doing it, I think it has a lot to do with how they wanted to keep the interest of the younger fan, I think.
I mean, I personally don't mind the bouncing back and forth. I think that adds a twist to it. You know what I mean? I think what tends to happen though is you find yourself getting lost in that
93 rather than
well,
98.
You find yourself getting lost or stuck in those moments when they go back, and then when they go forward, you like, oh damn, like you kind of want those old moments to keep going.
They could have been more in depth on the old moments. I think it's going to be a home run slam dunk no matter how it was. But as a documentary, I don't say this is great like documentary film work. It's just the subject matter is so dope. The time we don't have nothing to do. So it's going to work. And maybe that's the whole point of it. It's going to work. Like it's just a really good subject. And it's honestly the best documentary I've ever seen is When We Were Kings, the Muhammad Ali one. Incredible. I don't know. Once I watch this, am I going to watch it again? Probably not. Like, right?
So when Netflix drops it, you're not going to peep it?
Unless they got extra joints.
They're going. They're going to have to sell it one way or another, so they'll have something extra.
It's going to be ESPN 9, yo. Go buy it.
I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying. I think that is one of those things that would sell itself. But I do think that, if it was whack, like people wouldn't be. I mean, I think it would show. I don't think it's. I think we get lost too in what it's supposed to be about. It's the Last Dance, so it's supposed to be about that last season,
right?
So when they, and that was my point of like when they flash back, like you get kind of caught in those moments and you kind of want them to stay there because those are the moments that they showing Mike. In Boston Garden, they showing Mike the All-Star game. They showing Mike here. They showing Mike there. So you get lost in that, and then when they go back to that current moment or what it's supposed to be based on in that last season, I think you kind of just get you're like But I mean,
would you put this up against the OJ Made in America doc? That shit was, to me, that was one of the greatest documentaries ever.
Yeah, but that also had like a murder. You know what I'm saying? Like that had something in it that's just a different animal.
But could it though? Because like you said, yes, it had a gruesome murder.
It had huge elements of racism in it. Like that was different.
But yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, this can certainly go more into that because I do think that, look, those newsrooms are, I believe now 60 or 70% still white. Back then they were, completely white.
95, yeah.
Right. So, those journalists are telling Mike's story through their lens. And so there's certainly racism and the way that they viewed him. There's more that could be, that they could go into on the doc, but they're not going to. They talk about it. America wants to build you up to tear you down. Like America loves that story. And I think you got a piece of that with this and Mike, but I don't know. He doesn't have any. I mean, what element could you add to it that would be scintillating? I mean, they'll probably talk about his father's death, but respectfully, as they should.
I think they could have went on. Well, I don't know if it happened then or not, but they could have gone on to his punching of Will Perdue and Steve Kerr. That plays a major role. Like
they talked about it. Well, Steve Kerr,
they used to say, "Oh yeah, he might have hit Will Perdue, but he did win MVP." Like they just.
Now I did think that because since Will was a part of the doc, I did think that they were going to go ask him if if that happened or not. But
maybe that'll be in the Netflix version.
I didn't hear the Will Perdue, but I heard the Kerr joint. I don't think he denied the Kerr one. I think he admitted to that slapping Kerr or whatever that happened. But I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I don't know what else you could add to it. Like I don't think that I don't get the sense that they're afraid to touch certain topics. I'll put it that way.
Sure.
Like I think they go into the topics that we want to hear about, but I think that with time, they might. I don't know. They had to maybe leave a lot of things on the cutting room floor to get it out the way that they wanted to. But now saying this makes me wish that they waited till June to was a complete that because now I want to know what are we missing and what would have been if they waited that long. I just hope and pray because I saw Magic Johnson come out the other day and say the Kobe doc is happening. I just pray and hope that they don't rush that.
They're
I
not.
hope-
Let me just say this: Magic talks a lot, and so
we do know that.
No way, not that.
I mean, look, eventually it'll be a doc. Magic made it seem like a doc is coming like within a year or two. That Kobe doc ain't gonna come out. Vanessa's gonna have to approve that, and I can't imagine anytime soon her wanting to put out a doc and her daughters have to relive. It's gonna be a minute, man. Magic's just talking.
Yeah, I hope they really take their time with that. And listen, no matter what's going on, don't rush that. Don't put that out. Don't throw that out there. Like just take your time with that. I mean, like I said, I'm enjoying the Mike Doc. But I mean, y'all make some good points. It makes me think about, hey, if they would have waited till June, would it have been that much better?
We'll see what episodes 7 and 8
7 and 8.
So appreciate you guys jumping on doing a recap with me.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you so much, man, and good luck with everything.
Thanks, man. Would everybody watching or that watched, everybody listening, shout out to you guys. Really enjoy everybody interacting on the podcast, and then we do these recaps every week of The Last Dance. So look out for us next Monday as well. So until next time, folks, we're out.
Peace.